It's a good job. But let's talk about someone who makes bad decisions. Okay. Or who has made questionable decisions in the past. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Oakland Raiders. Former, obviously. No, well, legends of the teams.
He's a legend.
Supposed to be a
Super Bowl champion.
Legend. He is a Super Bowl champion. Pittsburgh Steelers legend, Antonio Brown. We're a bit late on the situation, but a lot has gone down. It's a developing story. Took his shirt off, ran off the field. After Bruce Arians, we're not too sure what he did because we have conflicting stories here. We don't know who to believe. But I think anybody who knows anything about Antonio Brown knows what happened to Antonio Brown. At least when it comes to Tampa Bay. But he's done a lot recently. He appeared on an Elk Boys podcast with Bob Menery as his first public media appearance. It was a weird time, but that's what he did. He's been hanging out with Kanye, The Game, other people. He released a rap song that was not
Brooklyn
good.
Nets game.
Joel, I know you have a lot to say about Antonio Brown, but let's start with what happened at MetLife Stadium. Taking the shirt off, running off the field, throwing everything in the stands, making a parade. Because, I mean, if the story is that Bruce Arians tried to put him in while he was injured, I understand where Antonio Brown's coming from.
Right.
But if obviously it's just he didn't want to play or wasn't getting targets, then you side with Bruce Arians and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But you have conflicting stories. It's never fun to have that. But Joel, what are your thoughts on the Antonio Brown situation? A lot has happened recently.
It's very difficult to say because, like you said, we have conflicting stories here. We don't exactly know what to believe. Bless you.
Right now.
Yeah, there you go. Looking at Antonio Brown and looking at what he did in MetLife and looking at how Bruce Arians went about the situation, I find it very difficult to believe that Bruce Arians did not know about his injury. That seems like something a head coach should know 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like even before the player should know. Like, I mean, come on. Like the head coach should know this kind of stuff. And he claims he didn't know it. He tried putting him in. Antonio Brown said that his foot hurt. He couldn't do it. His ankle hurt. And he just told him to leave. Just told him to get out. Antonio Brown, I mean, I would not have done it that way. Blowing a fit, throwing your jersey, throwing your gear into the stands. Didn't he throw it at fans?
Yes, he threw a few things at fans, tape, his shirt, everything.
Nice lawsuit right there.
Or an eBay.
Wish I was sitting. Acting like a cheerleader going down the end zone.
While the team was on the field?
While the team was on the field. Going out back to the locker room. Man, like, it's just very difficult to believe. I mean, like I said, I feel like there's no rights to the situation. I feel like both Bruce Arians and Antonio Brown both have some wrongs here.
Yeah.
But if you look at what has happened in recent events, like this is like the boy who cried wolf. Like after a while, you see Antonio Brown, just constantly saying, it's not my fault. It's this guy. It's this. It's that.
Yeah.
And then you see back to in Steelers days, you see a situation with Big Ben. You see a situation in New England. You see a situation in Oakland at the time. Now you see a situation in Tampa. Then you got legal situations that you're dealing outside of the NFL. It's like, it's just one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. It's like, once you're finally in the quote unquote right here, not everyone's going to believe you. It's just not going to happen. You just keep saying, oh yeah, Big Ben was a problem. Oh, I didn't like John Gruden. Oh, I don't like Bruce Arians. Oh, I'm not playing for another quarterback unless it's Tom Brady. I'm going to retire. I don't like this. I want to become a rapper. It's just like, I want to box. Like, it's just like, oh my, like, I just don't understand this guy. And I'm not going to say it has anything to do with like, CTE or anything like that. I'm not an expert on that. Neither of us are. Yeah. I don't want to get in on that because we don't know how Antonio Brown is. Like, when you look at his recent events, people say, oh, there's something mentally not wrong with him. It's just, maybe this is just who he is. Who knows?
It's hard to
Maybe he just
tell,
wants to
and
start.
I think to make
It's very hard to tell.
it's hard to make assumptions, and at times it can be offensive to make assumptions because
Exactly.
you know I don't know. It's a tough situation. You also can't tell if someone has CT until they eventually pass away, and you have to do the autopsy, you have to scan the brain, and everything. So we won't be able to know. And maybe that Vontez Burfict hit has something to do with it. But on the podcast he went on, he was very quick to shut down these things. He said, "How are we supposed to know? I mean, which is fair. There's no way to know, and AB is just going to be AB." But he actually admitted recently, apparently, that taking the shirt off and doing what he did was probably not the best decision. And I guess you got to agree with the guy, owning up to a mistake. But one thing that he also said on that podcast, which intrigued me, he was saying, he asked them, who's the best receiver on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Realistically, who's the most talented player? Who's the best player? Right? They said Antonio Brown. You could say it's Mike Evans. You could say it's Chris Godwin. But Antonio Brown believes that the answer to that question is Antonio Brown. It's hard to argue with him considering how great he's been in the past. But
it depends if is he talking about on the season, or is he talking about career wise? Because if that's the case, then it's Antonio Brown.
I think he just means who's a better player. There's an argument, even though he's the wide receiver 3 in Tampa Bay and he's on a prove it deal. That was what he was arguing about. He was saying, why am I on a prove it deal? Right? We know why AB's on a prove it deal.
Oh yeah, he also had complaints about the money. That's what he also had
right.
About.
It's a prove it deal. That's what he's been on with Oakland, with the Patriots, with Tampa Bay. He's like, why am I getting less money than this guy when I'm a better football player than him? Right? You're not a better teammate, right? You get paid to be a good teammate, a good leader, a locker room presence as well. That's why a lot of guys are still in the league, right? In their older age. Why a lot of kickers maybe get signed up, because people like him. People like a lot of older players. People liked, Dwight Freeney when he was still rocking around the league. People like Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
He's a good leader.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, you look at him and you think to yourself, you wouldn't necessarily put him in oh yeah, he's definitely a starting quarterback. I trust him with my team. Probably not, but he is a fantastic mentor to rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah. I trust him to lead my team when the going goes tough. Do you trust AB to lead your wide receiver room when the going goes tough at this point in his career? Probably not. I mean, obviously, AB is, if you just take his Pittsburgh Steelers career before, pre-Vontez Burfict, he's one of the best receivers in the history of the NFL. I think he's a Hall of Famer regardless, right?
First ballot, instantly.
Yeah. He was a top 3, if not top 1 receiver in the league. He was arguably the best receiver in football, right? He didn't have a lot of issues, but he was a bit of you could say he was a diva. He was twerking. He was doing a lot of interesting celebrations, jumping into the goalpost in Indianapolis. Or not
But people just thought that was his personality.
It was at the time it was. At the time it was just AB. But now it's the situations that we have today.
It's a lot more than that now. You look at Antonio. You look at Antonio Brown, like I said before, you see all of his recent events that have happened with him, and it's just at what point are we going to take yet another chance on him? Because you see the Bucs sign him, you see the Patriots sign him. I think. Do you think that he'll get another shot in the NFL? Like a team's gonna sign him this offseason?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because, he said he plans on playing in the NFL. That he's going to keep working out. He's going to stay in shape. He was a heavy percentage of Tom Brady's targets, right? He's a Super Bowl champion. He's not completely old yet, per se. But considering what just happened here with, the coaching situation, taking the shirt off and, knowing that if you get in a dispute with this guy, he might just leave. And considering what he did in Oakland, I
wanted to see him with the Raiders, man. I wanted to see him play at least one game.
He would have been good.
I think he would have been great. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he would have been a phenomenal receiver. He was still in his prime at that point. I think he took a year off or whatever. But
you know what I found out the other day too. So, the Raiders traded for Antonio Brown and they gave the Steelers a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick.
Right.
Do you know who that 3rd round pick was?
I'm not sure.
It was Deontay Johnson.
That's big. That's very big.
That's big time.
That worked out well for them.
That worked out very well for them.
Yeah.
I found that out. I found that out not too long ago, or they used to pick to get Deontay, but
Right.
at the end of the day, they got Deontay for that pick, and it was just like it's funny how it works out.
The franchise made a good move. The Steelers made a good move with that. Now they're in the playoffs with Deontay Johnson. How about that? Where's Antonio Brown? Where's Antonio Brown? But
probably doing an interview somewhere.
Who's a better player? Who's a better player though? Right now, Deontay Johnson.
Right now,
Antonio Brown.
Deontay Johnson.
But who's better at football? I'm saying who's obviously Deontay Johnson has had great production.
Oh, you mean more productive? Yeah.
Yeah, obviously Deontay Johnson is a more productive player, and he's been a better player in terms of production. But who is a better football player?
If you were talking football player, and I'm thinking just like the overall name, Antonio Brown or Deontay Johnson, I'm taking Antonio Brown.
Right.
Clear. I think anybody with half a mind would.
Yeah.
But when you look at the importance to their team, it's Deontay Johnson.
And that's why AB's on prove-it deals.
Exactly.
Because he hasn't proved that he can be the productive receiver that he was in Pittsburgh without the distractions of Oakland and Tampa Bay. I think we'll get another shot.
Pull up his stats real quick.
His stats are great.
For
if you look at Antonio Brown, I mean,
42 catches, 545 yards.
Missed a lot of games.
He missed a few, yeah.
He had a great stretch of what he's a great player. But
man, he ain't what he was in Steelers, man. Oh my God.
I mean, he was what, 25, 26?
Look at these yardage, man. He had 1,500 yards, 1,698, 1,834, 1,284, 1,533. Oh my God. Like,
he said that on the podcast too. He was like, pull up my stats. Look at how great I am. Right? I mean, he's a cocky guy, but he's not wrong.
Or maybe it's Big Ben.
Was it Big Ben? Right? No. So you asked me this, right? So where would he go if he was to get another shot in this league, right? I was thinking about this when you asked me that question, and I'm thinking, who would take him? Because he was in Tampa, because Tom Brady was a big fan of his, right? He's not going to be a Buccaneer anymore. You have all these new head coaches that aren't going to walk in as they get their new job and say, I'm going to get Antonio Brown. Who's going to take him?
I feel like, Russell Wilson wanted him.
Pete Carroll doesn't want to work with him.
Man, that's true.
Yeah.
I better not see him wearing a Giants uniform. That would never happen.
But why not?
Right? That would never happen. No. I don't want that guy on my team. He's from Miami. Yeah. I don't think he would go there now that Brian Flores is gone.
That's true.
I don't think he would go there.
I don't think there's a situation. Maybe San Francisco pull a Randy Moss and end his career there.
I don't see him going. He's not going back to the Patriots.
No,
Belichick's not going to want him.
Exactly.
I don't see it.
He's burned too many bridges at this point.
He's burned so many bridges. It's like
that. I think if he goes to another place, that's his last shot. That's it.
I don't see. Do you see him going to Kansas City?
Is Andy Reid going to want him?
That would be such a problem waiting to happen, man. Like,
because every time that I'm sure, a decision is made for a guy like Antonio Brown, I think the first thing a lot of coaches will do is call Mike Tomlin and say, or they'll call Bruce Arians, because a lot of them know this guy, have been with his staff before. And we'll say, like, should I get this guy? Like, what was it like being with him? I want to know everything. And Bruce Arians, do you think he's going to give a good word for Antonio Brown at this point?
You got to look at a team that they are good enough to make the playoffs, but they got but they got little to no receiver help. Because AB, first of all, he wants to be productive. Yeah. He wants to put up what he's been putting up with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which, at 33, about to be 34, I don't see that really happening. But I could see him going to the Ravens.
Maybe.
I could see Ravens
he does
happening,
need that. Yeah, I think that he would fit better there than anywhere else, probably.
and I could see him going into the division with the Steelers.
Cleveland, not Cincinnati.
No, not Cincinnati. Dallas. Michael Gallup might leave.
He probably will.
You're on an ACL injury and you're about to be a free agent. I don't see him getting re-signed.
I mean, it depends what kind of contracts he gets after his injury.
He's getting a 1 year
full recovery. Yeah, everything like that.
But I could,
tough.
if a spot opens up in Dallas, I could probably see him going with Dak. But
CD, Dak, and Amari Cooper, and AB, and Zeke, and Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
We love Tony Pollard around here.
The GOAT. My favorite Cowboy, the only guy I like there.
Yeah.
But
I think it's just hard because you have, again,
but it's easy to think of teams. It's easy to think of teams where it's like, oh yeah, he fit on this team. I can see him going to this team. He could be productive here. You got to look at that coach and their GM and saying, do we want this guy on this team? Like, we're going to be on TMZ once a week at least. It's just like, you
want the noise.
Oh my God, you're going to get so much bad attention on this team.
Yeah.
It's
getting
just
AB is a distraction.
I will admit he had a good run with Tampa though, because he lasted a lot longer than I thought he would. He played a good amount of I believe he played 13 games in total between these past 2 years. He played he played hold on, let me see. 15 games. Yeah, he played 15 games. Not counting playoffs, I don't think.
No, that doesn't count playoffs.
But yeah, I mean, he was really productive, I feel like, in these past 2 years, but as a third receiver, as a wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
And when he was healthy. And it's not a scenario where I look at it and say, oh yeah, he can go to the Ravens or whatever and be prime AB again. Because that's what he thinks is going to happen. It's not going to happen. And you got to find someone who trusts you. And there's so much that needs to go right here. I don't see it happening. You got your ring, you got what you wanted, and it's just like, at this point, you got to play with Tom Brady. And he literally said too. He said, if I'm not playing for Tom Brady, then I am not going to play. Okay, then you're going to have to retire. It's what's going to happen.
He's one of those players that won't officially retire, right? He's someone that's going to be there. No, I don't think he would officially retire. But at this point, the NFL is blacklisting him for what he's done.
Kind of like Cam Newton last year. He didn't do anything wrong, but it's just like, he was posting those workout videos, like saying, I'm staying ready. Or like Colin Kaepernick, I'm staying ready, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's
maybe he gets picked up, maybe he doesn't, right? Like Cam Newton got picked up. And I think, again, Cam Newton is a situation where his injuries were just, he can never get back into shape. And, I hope he hasn't played his last game because I do like him a lot, but
he's a good teammate, man. He is such a great teammate.
Players love him. I mean, the energy in the
locker room. They love him. Did you see when he first got to Carolina, people were jumping up, hugging him?
Yeah.
People literally, I remembered this. They had like a photo or whatever. Like they showed him and the GM of the Panthers. Literally, for a split moment, everything that happened in the past just went away, and he was just happy to see him. That's literally like he was just happy to see him in the building again. Like
Cam,
it was.
Cam is a great human. Cam is great.
He's a great guy. He's a great person. But just production in the NFL, being a starting quarterback, realistically, is probably not gonna happen. I don't see. I mean,
I think
he posts those workouts. Oh, I think he'd be a good coach.
Like on the college level, he should be.
I could see him doing what Philip Rivers is doing. Like maybe probably because he likes to work with kids. I could see him going to high school.
Yeah,
going to high school for a little while. Maybe in Carolina or like somewhere down in Auburn.
I was about to say Auburn would take him back in a heartbeat. I'm sure. I mean, he won a national championship. He's a legend down there. At least as an assistant quarterback coach, something
like that.
There's a future for Cam, right?
Oh yeah, there's a devil in football.
AB,
football in general.
Yeah, he has a future, right? AB though, I never see him coaching. I never see him anywhere there. Like being
so much needs to go right. So much needs to go right.
Yeah. So, do I think AB will be signed to a roster at some point within the next year? Yes. Where, I have absolutely no idea, and I'll be surprised no matter where it is. But I think
wherever that place may be, all I gotta say is Godspeed.
good luck.
Good luck with that.
Luck for sure. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard, but hopefully AB actually finds a way to work it out, because obviously, we're not going to sit here and hope AB doesn't have a future in the NFL and doesn't make a roster. I mean, I think we want him to be successful. We want to see him play football, but when you look at it realistically, I don't think it's going to happen. But I think he'll get signed. I think he will get signed somewhere. Maybe Miami, but it has to be a good team. There's too much criteria.
It's got to be a good team.